Oh yeah. It's the Brian Show, and aren't you listening? He's so mean, but he doesn't care. He loves that you listen every week. Everybody listen, please listen now. Everybody loves it when you listen to the Brian Show. The Brian Show. Brian Show. Didn't work out as well as I thought it would. I'm still getting it down. I'm still figuring it out. I'm still figuring things out. I'm telling you. Watch this. Watch me bring this volume down. It's not very good, but you know it's worth it. Oh yes, I do this manually. I don't use automatic volume faders. I do everything manually, and if I screw something up, a click of the mouse and an errant click of the mouse, and I'm done. I am done. So welcome everybody. It's the Brian Show. It's the 5th show. I've been doing this since October 9th or so, and this is the 5th one. And welcome. I appreciate you listening in, and I hope you enjoy what you are going to hear for the next hour. In case you're just tuning in, if you're tuning in live, welcome. Wednesday 8 to 9, YouTube. The link is at the Instagram page post. I think it's the Brian Show Live. You can look it up. I'm on Twitter too, Brian Show Live. I haven't really gotten the hang of the Twitter thing yet as far as promoting things, because I don't know how to get people to follow me back. I follow them, but I guess I'm not following enough people to make it worth my while, and then they don't follow me. So I got to figure that out. So if you have any suggestions, let me know. This show, I say this every week, but I figure it's new enough that there's always got new listeners, and it's also a podcast too. That's what I was going to say. So if you want to listen to it at your leisure, I'm on iTunes, Apple Podcasts. I think I'm on Spotify now. I haven't checked. It was supposed to take about a week, and I haven't received an email saying that I have been accepted, but I was accepted to Apple, and that's the big one. So you can also, I also posted you can search Libsyn, Libsyn, and look for the RSS feed, and you can just paste that right into your podcast catcher thing, your podcast app. And I use Overcast. I've been using it for a few years. I like it a lot, and it's one of those. It's more full. It's easier to use than Apple Podcast, and it has more features that I like. So, if Overcast wants to sponsor me, that's great. I'll take your money, and I enjoy your product. But that's that. So, thanks for tuning in. That was Wild Wild West I came in with, which is the worst song ever recorded. I really hate it. If you go back to, I think it was the second episode, I talked about how much I hated that song and how I liked it when I was a kid. And then I realized just how much of a relic it was, and just how bad it was. I think Escape Club is I think they're a British group, and it has all the hallmarks of terrible songs. So give it a listen if you want to subject yourself to some kind of torture. There's a bad rap at the end of it, which is white boy rap, and it is real bad. The lyrics are stupid. There's even a stupid gun sound effect at the beginning. Cowbell. The subject matter it's just the worst song that's ever been recorded. And I hate it. And of course I had to start the show with it. I had an interesting hat thing. Oh, I'll get to that in a second, but I wanted to say hello to all the Bryans out there. This is the Bryan Show. There are many of you that are listening, and probably some of you are named Brian, so thank you. We have Bryan Cranston, Bryan Adams, although they both spell their names Bryan, which is not ideal. In fact, if I ever met Bryan Cranston in person, I would probably step on his foot just for spelling his name wrong. But that's just me. Brian Wilson, of course, from the Beach Boys. Brian May. Brian Jones, one of the founders of the Rolling Stones. When did he die? I think he died in the 70s or the 60s. Brian Austin Green, of course, from 90210, which was if you're too young to remember, it was a show that came out last year, and I think Jason Priestley was in it, and of course Brian Austin Green. It's set in the hamlet of Beverly Hills, California, and I believe the zone code, zip code, is 90210. So Brian Austin Green, and then of course Brian Bonsall, who played one of the kids in Family Ties, and my favorite, Brian Posehn. Great guy, very funny. He seems like the kind of guy. He's famous enough, but he might be the kind of guy that would come on a show like this and just discuss heavy metal music and being named Brian. And he's done a lot with what he's got. He's a funny guy, and he just kind of shows up in things. That and there's nothing that you nothing to fault somebody that just does what they do every day. I had an interesting thing happen to me last week, and it might have been the night after. I can't remember if it was last Wednesday night or last Thursday night. I think it was last Thursday night, so the day after the show, which I think was Halloween night. And we had salmon for dinner, and we bought some salmon from Costco, and it was delicious, but and they usually debone it, and I didn't get any hint of a bone. I was not in the bone zone when I was eating it, and we actually ate it for 2 or 3 nights because it was a lot of fish. So I didn't. My wife cooked it, and it was delicious, and we had it for 2 or 3 nights, and I thought I didn't notice that a bone had gotten stuck in my throat. So I woke up on Thursday night, and it was probably Friday morning, 2:00 in the morning, and I felt like I couldn't breathe. So I got up and I was like, "What the heck is going on?" And I kept swallowing. And my throat was getting pretty sore because I was like, "Shit, do I have a cold? Is there something going on?" But I didn't feel like I had a cold, so I got up and I was just like going, and my voice sounded really weird. It sounded like this, and it felt like I had some phlegm or something in my throat. And my wife wakes up. She goes, "Are you okay?" Because it's like 3:00 in the morning. "What's going on?" I said, I don't know. I got something in my throat. Can you breathe?" I'm like, "Yeah, I can breathe, but it just feels weird." And she went back to sleep because I had it handled. So I tried to look down my throat, which for some reason, my gag reflex, not for some reason, but it's no surprise that I took my toothbrush and I kind of held my tongue down and held my phone with the flashlight to look down and see because at this point I had totally forgotten that I had eaten fish that night. What I thought it was I had eaten some Ben and Jerry's, some kind of ice cream that had peanuts in it. I thought I had like a peanut skin stuck. So I gargled and I gargled some more, and I coughed. I was like, like Teddy from Bob's Burgers. Oh, Bobby. My voice sounded really weird. And I thought, well, I must have throat cancer because I don't know what else this is. There's nothing in there. I can't get it out. I must have throat cancer. So I did. I was able to. So I got back to sleep. I laid down, tried to relax myself, all the while swallowing and still not remembering that it was fish. And I woke up the next morning, and it was a little bit better, but it was still really irritated. So I went to work and came home, and it was pretty much done with. But during the day, I was texting with my wife, like, I don't know what is going on. And she goes, well, it might be a fishbone. I was like, fishbone? I haven't eaten. Oh. And that was the moment that I realized that it must have been a fishbone, and my body had expelled it or done something to it because it got dislodged somehow and was by the next day I was feeling fine. So that is the story of the fishbone. I'm also looking forward this weekend to I'm volunteering at a beer fest, which hot tip, if you volunteer places that serve alcohol, most of the time they'll give you free alcohol. I've volunteered at a couple beer fests before, where they start in the morning and they have a bunch of beer. It's like a beer festival, and they have lots of beer fests. I'm gonna adjust this. And they whoever's putting on the beer fest will have all these different brewers, and since it's a bunch of beer drinking people, they're pretty lax on the rules, and they just put out a blast on Facebook or through word of mouth, like, hey, we need some people to come up by and volunteer. We'll give you a T-shirt, and you can go sample some beers. But what it turns into is everybody that you sign up and you show up, and they put you to work for 2 hours, 3 hours, doing whatever, checking people in, giving people, pouring drinks, whatever you do. And then they let you loose, and you can go and have a lot of fun. So I've done that a couple times. This is the third time I'm doing it, and it's for a different brewery that's putting it on. And I imagine it's the same kind of thing. I got my email this morning or this week. Hey, just show up around 11 o'clock. We'll give you your T-shirt, and we'll tell you where you're stationed and what you're going to be doing. And then, you just do a little bit of work, a couple hours or so, and then we'll turn you loose. Feel free to stop by Friday night if you like, because it's on Saturday. Feel free to stop by Friday night if you want if you want to just come by and have a beer on us. So I'm looking forward to that because as much as I don't need to be drinking a lot, as far as health-wise and weight-wise, it's always a treat to go do these things, and it's out from something that I don't normally do, except maybe once a year or so. So, and one of the best things, it's like probably a mile from my house, so I can Uber there. I can get somebody to drop me off. I can get somebody to pick me up. I can Uber home. Shit, I could walk home if I wanted to. I could stumble on home. And it ends at 6 o'clock, so I could stumble on home and still have the rest of the night. I could sit there and watch TV, and I could go out if I wanted to. I won't. I know myself, but I could. And it's a nice Saturday, so I'm looking forward to that. Let's see. I'm trying to get like I've said before, I need more RAM in my computer because this thing takes forever, and then I have a million things going on at once, and well, I'll just let it roll. Just let it ride. So, I was thinking about, how I can better help people, and part of what I am trying to do in this realm with this show is to talk about whatever I feel like talking about, and hopefully somebody can relate to it in some way. And I do that via the audio format, but I was also thinking about writing a book, and that book would really explain it would explain all the secrets of the universe, and how to achieve your unlimited potential, how you unlock it, and how to become the best Brian that you could be. Because even if your given name is not Brian, even if your Christian name is not Brian, or Jewish name, or whatever name you were born with, you can still be a Brian. You can still be the best Brian that you can be. And so tonight, I am announcing that I will start writing Brianetics. And Brianetics is going to be I'm going to start conservatively. I'm going to start conservatively at 700 pages. I think that's a good starting point. And I think Brianetics is going to really unlock your potential. It's really going to help you really kind of see the world as it is and how they don't want you to see it. Because they don't want you to see the world as it is. You see what I'm saying? They want you to have blinders on and a blindfold and a bald cap over your head so your hair doesn't poke through, and so you look bald and blind and you can't see from side to side. But I'm taking the bald cap off. I'm taking the blinders off. I'm taking the blindfold off. I'm taking your third eye and I'm putting eye drops in it so it's nice and moisturized. And after you blink a few times, to get like the tears out, your third eye is going to be seeing crystal clear. You may need contact lenses for your third eye. I don't know. Depends on your prescription, but you can. It'll help you. So Brianetics is going to revolutionize how you experience the world. I'm going to teach you. I haven't figured out how I'm going to break down the chapters yet, but I know I'm going to teach you how to harness nature, earth, wind, fire, water, soot. I'm going to teach you how to harness that and how to command it and gain mastery over it. What does that entail? Well, you'll just have to read Brianetics. Chapter 2 or another chapter, I'm not sure, have you harness your physicality. So I'm going to teach you how to shed the weight of the world, either physically or mentally, and you're going to become chiseled. You're going to become strong. You're going to become the strongest person you know, next to me, and you're going to look good in the mirror, and you're going to feel good when you look in the mirror. And that's all going to come from inside, but it also comes from within, and it also comes from deep down. And then it also comes from without, but you're not without because you're reading Brianetics. So your physicality, you're going to harness the elements. And then the final one, so far, probably I won't even say final because there's no finality with Brianetics. Brianetics is eternal. But the next one is the mind. So if you read the book Matilda by Roald Dahl, you know that Matilda was able to move things with her mind by concentrating on them. Because here's the thing, she had shit parents and a shit older brother, and she was very intelligent, and so she would go to the library and read all the books, and she flew through school. So basically, she had all this knowledge, but she was only in like first grade or second grade, so she was not able to. She had a lot of extra emotion, mental bandwidth, so she was able to harness that and use it to move things. I think she started by drawing with a piece of chalk and scaring the teacher, Mrs. Trunchbull, and somehow she got revenge on her parents, like in Carrie, but I can't remember. But anyway, so I'm basically going to teach you how to harness your mind and be better than Matilda. You will be able to, I guarantee this. You can take me to court over this. I guarantee you'll be able to move things with your mind. You'll be able to think about it and say, I want that lamp over there. And you just kind of move your head like this. You can't even see it, but you get what I'm saying. Like, you just move your neck a little bit. And there it goes. Away it goes. It moves. You'll set it down gently. And that's that. Brian Eddix. I'm telling you, this is the wave of the future. This is how things are going to go. Have you ever wondered what David's bridle would be like if it was Dave's bridle? Have you ever thought about that? I know I have. What would Dave's bridle look like? What kind of dresses would he have? I think more frills. I think poofier poofier sleeves. I think wider lapels. And brighter colors. Weddings aren't just for people who are white anymore. There's not enough pamphleteering anymore. During the Revolutionary War, there was pamphleteers. There were people put out pamphlets, Common Sense, by Thomas Paine. Or was it Adam Smith? I can't remember. It was a pamphlet. They didn't need books. They didn't need damn books. I just posted something on Instagram. You can follow along if you'd like. But I was looking at Facebook the other day, and I came across a advertisement by Tig Notaro, who's a comedian. I've seen her a couple times. She's very funny. Watched her on TV. I saw her at a small little. I saw her at a small little club. It was a club. It was kind of like an outside bar. I think I paid $6, and I was about 8 feet away from her while she did her stand up. And then a few years later, spent $50, maybe $100 total for 2 tickets to go see her at a much larger venue. And funny both times, so glad to see that she's getting some work. But she posted something. It's called the Melissa Etheridge Cruise. And Melissa Etheridge, of course, is the headliner. And Tegan and Sarah, I think they're twins, twin gals that play music. Tig Notaro, of course. Sean Colvin of I'm a Bitch, I'm a Liar, I'm a whatever. And then some people that I've never heard of, but I'm sure they're famous. Lucy Spraggan, Sonia Lee, Melissa Crispo, and Angie Kay. And are there too many cruises now? I mean, I think after the Motley cruise, there have been too many cruises. What is the purpose? I mean, because why Melissa Etheridge cruise with? I mean, is it like a time for women to bond with each other on the seas with norovirus and drinks and expensive internet? I don't know. I mean, you take a cruise. You take a bunch of people that are interested in one thing. There's a heavy metal cruise. There was the Weezer cruise a few years ago. There's the Motley cruise. There's a John Mayer cruise, which is equally unwarranted. And I'm sure there's tons of other cruises. And there's a Disney cruise, but that's by Disney. And then people go, and I guess the allure of it is you get to see whatever it is you're interested in. In this case, Melissa Etheridge probably plays 3 or 4 sets, and you might run into her at the bar or something, at the buffet table, and be able to bother her in person. And then you might run into her at a port of call because, who doesn't want to go to an island that is wholly owned by Carnival Cruise Lines, where they exploit the locals for the benefit of fat Wisconsin people. I don't know. So I just thought it was interesting. Did this need to exist? Did the Melissa Etheridge cruise need to exist? Nothing against Melissa Etheridge or Tig Notaro, but if you want to go see them, go see them. But it seems like a lot of money to spend. It's probably a couple $1,000s per ticket to go see that, and then they throw in a couple of getaways. But I don't know. I've never been on a cruise, so maybe I'm wrong. They're supposed to be fun. It's very inclusive as far as food and drink, and all the fun is there. And they have a show. You can go see a show even if you don't go on a themed cruise. So, I was also thinking about how I was going to be able to make some money, and my thought was, with the economy inexplicably being going gangbusters, even though we have a president who's actively trying to destroy our economy by his stupid tariffs and his even stupider words. I thought about, I need to put some money in stocks. So I started doing some research, and I thought that I would share some of my stock picks with you, because I think that there's some money to be made here. So, I don't think it's insider trading, because I'm not an insider. But if you want to, if you make some extra money, you want to kick it my way, maybe one day I'll create a Patreon or something. But the first one I came across, and these are all blue chips, by the way. These are stocks that supposedly have done well. I don't know too much about blue chips. I don't know what blue chip means, except it's a term that means a stock that's very solid and a good rate of return and is safe. GE, GE, $123 a share. And you remember what is GE? Grandma's Enemas Incorporated. That's what that is. $123 a share. That's a good stick, a good pick. FB is the next one, another blue chip. That is $45 per share. I purchased a few shares of that. Friends Board Game Consolidated Concern. I think they make exclusively board games themed around the show Friends. So it's Consolidated Concern. So I don't know exactly what that means, but sounds businessy. Sounds like a moneymaker to me. The next one is AMZN, another blue chip stock. And that one trades at $145 a share, so it's not cheap. But it's already gone up in value since I purchased it last week. I think I purchased it about $141. AMZN, that's the stock ticker. It's Amazing Cat Litter Creations. And so basically it's cat litter that you buy it and then you can sculpt a sculpture out of it, and then you can, as long as you keep it away from your cat, because your cat might ruin it with his poops and his pees. It's amazing cat litter creations. I mean, you can really do a lot with it. The next one is AAPL. Sounds like Apple. But it's AAPL as a stock ticker. That one is $300 per share. That one's friggin' expensive. And that company is An Awesome Party for Ladies, Tiny Man Gigolo Incorporated. And what that is it's an awesome party for ladies. AAPL. Tiny Man Gigolo. I think what that is they take little people and just short men, probably men under 5'6", and they turn them. They send them to Gigolo school, send them to Gigolo camp, and they become. They go to school. And the company pays for it all. And you have to be you can't you have to be this tall to ride the roller coaster. You can't be any taller. And so they send him to Gigolo school, and then that's that. I mean it's pretty cool. An awesome party for ladies, Tiny Man Gigolo, and then I guess they just turn them loose on the ladies, and the ladies call in, and those are the ones that are sustaining. So $300 a share. That's pretty darn good. I don't see that one tanking anytime soon. The next one is MSFT. That's somebody said it was Microsoft, which doesn't make any sense, but it's actually Glenn Danzig Sleeveless Shirt and Corpse Paint Corporation. And that's kind of cheeky because Glenn Danzig was in the Misfits, but MSFT, and it's basically his sleeveless shirt, and he sells Corpse Paint Corporation. So get that one's only $12 a share. That one's a steal. I don't see that one. I see that one really making an impression this fiscal year. Your capital gains taxes might be a little higher if you sell this one because I really think you're going to make a lot of money with it. Next one is J&J. That's $225 per share. That one's pretty expensive. But again, a good value. It's a blue chip. I don't know what blue chip means, but it's supposed to be good. That's Johnson's Gourmet Sausages. So J&J, Johnson's Gourmet Sausages. So it's... That one kind of confuses me because it's Johnson, and then it's like some guy named Johnson. Johnson's Gourmet Sausage. I'm not sure where that second Johnson comes in. I would hope they're not trying to be vulgar. I really just don't know though. The next one is GOOGL. Googla. That's $16 a share. Again, these are all blue chip stocks. They're moving on up. And that one's Euros, Ouzo, more Ouzo, and grape leaves, Greek Emporia. So that's that one kind of tracks. Euros, gyros, if you want to be sound like a rube. Euros, Ouzo, more Ouzo, and grape leaves, Greek Emporia. So that sounds like they sell good Greek food, and ouzo. Ouzo is the Greek liquor, and tastes like licorice, but just gets you a little drunker. But it's good. Not something you would drink a lot of, but it's a good aperitif, or that's what after, and then pre-digestif beforehand or afterwards. The next one is HD, and that one, of course, is that one's pretty self-explanatory. That one's $468 per share, and that's HD. That's Huge Dong Enterprises. Hubert, and that's Huge Dong Enterprises is Hubert and George Dong, and they were two Chinese expats, and they sell earth-moving equipment. So, they kind of combine their names, Hubert and George, to form Huge Dong Enterprises. But they sell earth-moving equipment. So I guess if you need a tractor or I can't even think of it. What's another earth mover? A bulldozer. That thing that like flattens the asphalt. It's called a flattener with the wheel. A steamroller, that's what it's called. Let's see, what else we got here? We got IBM. That's that's $66 per share. IBM. That's iBust Moves mobile dance unit. And what that is it's if you need somebody to dance with you, you just call IBM iBust Moves, and they will come out and dance for you, which is pretty cool. I really like that. I like that because it really. Some people just need to be able to dance, and they need to be able to have somebody there to help them out in times of trouble. Bridge over Troubled Water was actually written right before IBM was invented because they needed somebody. Paul Simon wished that somebody could just bust moves with him and just kind of break him out of the folk mode. So $66 a share. That's a great one. iBust Moves mobile dance unit. I don't know if they come in a van. I don't know if they come in a car. Maybe it's a clown car. Maybe it's like a hot dog, a Wienermobile. Maybe it's a bus. It's got to be a bus, right? It's got to be something like a party bus that people can hang out in and bus moves. The next one, I just got a couple more. And if you need me to repeat any, just let me know. You can send me an email, thebrianshowlive@gmail.com, or find me on Instagram or through YouTube. You can leave a comment. And feel free to subscribe. That way you'll always know when I'm going live, and then again, look out the podcast. S-Bucks, S-B-U-X, and that's Starbucks exchange currency trader in space. So what they do is they haven't quite figured out the business model, but they're trying to find these intergalactic banks that are going to, there's got to be some kind of common currency, especially when we find aliens, or they find us, or maybe they're already here. And they have to be able to kind of explain they have to be able to speak a common language. Like every currency in the world is pegged to the United States dollar. And so, this is kind of expanding on that because it's something that's got to, you kind of have to be, so they're on the front end of that, on the cutting edge of that. So Starbucks exchange currency trader in space. I like that. I hope it works. And then finally, DIS, DIS. That's Did I Do That skateboarding lessons from Steve Urkel. And that one's, I don't know why that's a blue chip. That one's 10 cents a share. So Did I Do That skateboarding lessons. I guess Jaleel White or somebody that is dressed as Jaleel White is going to teach you how to skateboard. And to be honest, I don't know how to skateboard. I've got on a skateboard a couple times, and I'm always afraid I'm going to fall. So so I could use some lessons. I really could.
Did I do that? 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 Did I do that?
Table for two.
Did I do that? Did I do that? Did I do that?
Did you do that?
Did I do that? Did I do that? Did I do that?
Did I do that? Did I do that?
The extended version of Wild Wild West by The Escape Club. Oh, here's the rap.
Some people them a keep waiting for. This one's called the outlaw. Wow, say about me, ride the rhythm like no riding a bike. You know me, murder me chatter when me chat on the mic.
Ugh, terrible. That's the worst. I mean, really is the worst. Oh man! So thank you for listening to my stock picks. I really like that. I'm going to try and make some money. So, like I did last week, I think I'm going to end with a little bit of a mental illness that I full disclosure, I do not have. Last week was narcissism, which I also believe I don't have. But maybe I do. I don't know. But this week, I thought I would talk about one that more people have than probably narcissism. Oh boy. Bipolar disorder. So I figured I'd tell you a little bit about bipolar disorder. And this one's pretty interesting. I knew a little bit about bipolar disorder, but not a whole lot. So I have run-of-the-mill depression, actually cyclothymia, I think, which is actually associated with bipolar disorder. I didn't know that. But anyway, bipolar disorder has two modes. There's bipolar 1 and bipolar 2. Bipolar 1 is defined by manic episodes that last at least 7 days, or manic symptoms that are so severe that the person needs immediate hospital care. And then depressive episodes occur lasting about 2 weeks. And it used to be called manic depression. So you have your manic phase where you feel like you have all this energy and you can get things done, and there's never, you have a lot of energy and you feel wired and you have trouble sleeping, and you have racing thoughts. And then there's bipolar 2 disorder, which is, and then of course the depression, which is, sad, hopeless, little energy, can't sleep, trouble concentrating, eat too much, too little. So bipolar 2 is defined by a pattern of depressive episodes and hypomanic episodes, but not the full-blown episodes described above. So seems like bipolar 2 is all the depression, none of the fun. So if you are manic, and I actually, I'm sure I've seen people that are manic, but I don't know. Maybe it just kind of washes over me. But I know people that in the mental health field that can recognize it. And apparently, bipolar disorder is harder to diagnose because it depends on what stage the person seeking help comes in on. So if they come in at the very low depression stage, then it could be diagnosed as just regular major depressive disorder. If they come in at a manic stage and they're talking a mile a minute and their mind is racing and there's all kinds of things going on and they can't sit still, sometimes they see hallucinations and people and they could be misdiagnosed as paranoid schizophrenic. Neither is accurate, but you luckily, unlike narcissism, there is treatment. And I mean, to get diagnosed, you have to go get an assessment, and they'll do something called mood charting, which is where they keep a daily record of your moods, sleep patterns, or other factors that could help with diagnosis and finding the right treatment. And then they can treat you, and so they treat you with medications, and a lot of times it's coexistent with substance abuse. That's a good question, Dragonfly Landscape and Water Gardens. Can you have bipolar 1 and bipolar 2 at the same time? I don't think so. Well, yeah, I mean, at the same time, if you have one, then you have the other. I mean, if you have one, the hyper stage, then you probably don't have bipolar 2. But that's a good question. I didn't think about that. Maybe you should ask, you know who. And so it can be diagnosed in children, but it's tough from what I've read, because children are, they're not fully grown adults, and they're not always good at expressing themselves in a way that makes sense. It makes sense to them, but maybe not to adults. And so they might be diagnosed with ADHD or other behavior problems. And so if you have a child that you suspect is bipolar, then a psychiatrist is a good place to start. But then, there's medications, and there's mood stabilizers and antipsychotics and antidepressants and anti-anxiety. And I'm glad I don't have that, because that sounds like a whole bunch of hassle to get on the right medication. I know there's lithium, and that's as much as I know. I saw some of the other I'm sorry, I'm trying to read at the same time. Some of the other medications, and I'd heard of a few of them, but again, I don't have the background to really tell you what the deal is with each of them, and that wouldn't be my role. I'm just here to give you a quick 10-minute breakdown of what's going on, and just stuff I find interesting. And so there's bipolar 1, bipolar 2, and cyclothymic, which is people that experience ongoing bipolar symptoms that don't meet the full criteria for 1 or 2. It's considered a less severe form of bipolar. It involves the frequent resurgence of hypomanic and depressive symptoms that never become severe enough to be diagnosed as bipolar 2. And they generally persist for a 2-year period. So they can last for a long time. You basically just feel depressed for a long time, and you don't even realize you're really depressed until somebody says, "Hey man, you all right?" And then you're like, "Oh shit." And then you go see somebody, and you realize just how bad you have been feeling. So there's also another one that I'd never heard of, but I think is interesting, called rapid cycling. And it says bipolar, this is from healthline.com, bipolar episodes can also be characterized by how quickly the episodes alternate. Rapid cycling is a pattern of bipolar disorder that occurs when you have at least 4 manic or depressive episodes within 1 year. And it's linked to increased rates of depression, suicide, substance abuse, anxiety, and hypothyroidism. And, lucky for you ladies, women are more likely to experience rapid cycling than men. So have fun with that. It's a scary thing, because bipolar disorder, any mental illness, but bipolar disorder, I think, seems to kind of go hand in hand with substance abuse, alcohol abuse, drug abuse, self-medication, not taking care of yourself, because you have the depression aspect of it. This is just me spitballing. I don't know if I'm right or not, but just cogitating here. You have the depression, which comes with its own set of challenges, where you don't want to get out of bed, you don't feel good, you want to do things that make you feel better, and sometimes or forget, and that includes drugs and alcohol for some people, and food and whatever for other people. But then you throw in the hypermania of bipolar 1, and then you feel great. You got all this energy, and you just want to keep going. So you'll take drugs, or you're feeling great. You'll have unprotected sex. You do all these crazy things and unsafe things to keep that going, and then of course, ultimately you crash. And so it's kind of the worst of both worlds, because unless you're on a mood stabilizer, it seems like it's not just something you can exercise your way out of or talk through. Not that you can with just regular depression, but it seems like you're kind of getting it from both sides instead of working with one aspect of it. So I thought that was interesting. I hadn't really listened or thought about too much about bipolar disorder, like I said. So, wow, this hour has flown by. Thanks for listening. I had a great time talking to you, and I didn't even get to all my topics, but actually I got 3 minutes. So let me, this is one more thing that's been irritating me. And this is another song that I can't stand. And if you were, in high school in the 90s, when this album came out, it's all you heard from the people that didn't know anything about music. And this song was a huge hit. And you'll know it the second I start playing it. Hold on.
Early in the morning,
man, this song sucks.
to the street, light me up that cigarette,
But there's one part in it.
shoes on,
Let me see. All right here.
guitar like
All right, right here.
fucking riot.
So I saw a meme online that said, I can play the guitar like a motherfucking riot, and then in parentheses, plays the lamest guitar solo ever. And that's something I thought about before, and it kind of sparked my interest. I'm like, that's exactly right. That is the lamest guitar solo ever.
Fucking riot.
Ugh, man, that's bad. I've just been playing. I mean, I guess I'm just kind of like working through it, all the shit, the stuff that sucks, and woof, like a motherfucking riot. So anyway, thank you all for listening, and I appreciate it. This one will be up, maybe not tomorrow. Well, I might be able to get up tomorrow morning, but just be on the lookout for it from the on your podcast feed, and we will go from there. So I appreciate everybody tuning in, and until next week, I'll be seeing you around, and hit me up if you have any questions about anything. gmail.com and brianshowlive@gmail.com, and Twitter and Instagram and all that stuff. So have some fun.